one. Hey, we started before we started. We did that thing. So how about this? I'm Allan Dempsey.
And I am Rafiq Shaheen, and today with us is a nationally touring headliner. He's a chlorine cowboy, an all-around tour de force. Put your hands together for...
Jeff Lluis. Jeff Lluis will do. It's way too solid of an intro. I wasn't expecting all that.
What the fuck is a chlorine cowboy?
It is this awesome thing he has been doing for almost as long as I've known him, which is kind of like his... I guess you would call it his...
I'm a cool guy. My business is Chlorine Cowboys.
Right, yeah, and it's like a brand thing.
Now, but yeah, but it started just,
It sounded
TikToks, like TikToks and shit.
Yeah, but they're like funny and shit.
Yeah, I do them while I'm working. I appreciate it. Yeah,
sounded like some kind of drug trade.
No, that's what
He's one of the chlorine cowboys.
It's a takeoff cocaine cowboys. Yeah, sure. We're in Florida. Solid business name.
It's a great name. It stuck out in my mind.
The logo I have envisioned for this that I'm going to get made.
Right. See, and that's the thing I love about comics, though. It's like comics straddle this weird line between being like the most business inept people and like the most on-spot business people you've ever met.
Yeah.
Like you'll ask a comic like, hey man, how much do you get paid for that gig? They'll be like, I don't know. And it's like, well, how much is your merch going? It's like, oh, well, I'm making a 2.5% profit margin for every shot glass that I sell over 25.
That's a side hustle, bro. That's it. That's all about the merch.
How long have you been doing comedy?
Technically, I started 2009, and then I wasn't good for like a while.
Well,
it took a while to get good.
I remember,
and I went to prison for a little bit, so I took a hiatus.
I think the very
I took a hiatus.
I mean, I was still doing comedy in prison. You have to.
What's the deal with these cages?
That's what I was doing. That's my fault.
I think the very first night I ever did comedy, you were there. And I saw you.
Where?
It was at Side Splitters.
Oh, dude. Wow. That's a long time ago.
It would have been 2010-ish.
I was not good then. I can guarantee
well,
you
and
that.
I don't know why you stuck out in my mind, but
I appreciate it.
I saw you do your act. Well, I think what I remember is I saw a guy who was working hard. And you did some joke that ended with you like on your knee for some reason and like making a silly face. And I mean, I could tell you were like working up a sweat.
Oh, shit. I think you're talking about... Oh, it's a terrible joke. It's some joke of some crappy erectile dysfunction pill joke.
Okay.
That I was doing. Yeah. I was not good. So you saw me like
but what
maybe
I saw,
like 5 performances ever. Maybe like my 5th performance.
What I saw was a guy sweating and working his ass off, and I was like, wow, this guy's really putting in some work for this fucking open mic, you know.
I got smoother with it.
And you always stuck out in my mind. I mean, I'm sure anyone I saw that night stayed with me. But you in particular, every time I've seen a picture of you, like, that's that guy. That's the take a knee guy.
I'm legit embarrassed.
No, you shouldn't be.
Long time ago, for sure.
You know, it's great though that Allan said that because like I'm listening to like the autobiography of Robin Williams, like on the drives to and from work. Mm-hmm. And one of the things they talk about is how much like Robin would work on stage. Like how much, and that's the thing a lot of people don't recognize when they talk about comedy is like there are some people who are so naturally talented that it doesn't look like work at all. But like there are other people who they are pouring out their like sweat, blood, and tears just to try and make people laugh.
Sure. Yeah, I left it all up there.
Yeah, you did that night. You sure did. Yeah, maybe that's why I didn't get anywhere because I didn't really. But I mean, I worked.
You quit too easy. I love you, but you quit way too easy.
Sure, I do. Yeah. Thanks for giving me something else to talk to my therapist about. Good. Well, no, that is a skill I eventually acquired, was realizing, okay, I'm in the hole, so I got to get myself out of this hole. So we're gonna dig into the old dick jokes because this crowd is not vibing with what I'm giving them, And for any of us to survive this, I might as well pull out my dick,
There's always that thing about like hacky material too. You know what I'm talking about, Jeff, where like you see the guy who like you've probably seen this guy too, Allan, but like there's every couple of years there's that guy who shows up and is like, if my erection doesn't go away in 4 hours, I'm not calling my doctor, I'm calling everybody.
Yeah.
Like that guy.
Yeah.
And there's, as terrible as it is for comics to be like, that's such hacky bullshit, there's also like people generally like it. Like the audience genuinely enjoys the idea of like, yeah, I would call Bob and tell him my dick's hard. Like I would.
I've been that guy 10 years ago. I've been that guy, man. I would do stuff like throw stuff in there that maybe my friends would say, and I had no idea. You know me, Rafiq. I don't watch comedy. I usually just don't watch anything. I did a joke then. I just started, and I didn't realize it was a Mitch Hedberg like joke, and it was just something my friend said that I was using. Yeah, I wasn't good at writing then, but yeah, I've been that guy for sure. I've been that guy.
Yeah, it's weird because like there's that first layer to jokes that everybody has.
Right.
That's the reason why whenever there's a hot new thing going on fucking Twitter or Facebook or whatever, every joke boils down to the same thing. It's like, Jerry Sandusky was caught fucking little boys. That's the reason why I don't send my nephew to blah, 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 blah. And it's like, cool. Can we just assume that that's the joke because 25 of you have made the same thing and we can just move on now? Like pick something else because no one's going to go better than Matt Fernandez this week. So like just pack it in, everybody. Let's move on. Like
that's why I try to stick to like personal experience nowadays. Yeah.
All right. So when you write your material, you tend to pull from a personal source?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I know Allan's made this complaint about me is that I don't pull personal enough.
Right.
I agree. I agree with my own assessment of you.
Right. Mm-hmm. So I guess the question to the two of you is, because I know you've said before that sometimes you don't like to get too personal.
Depending on what that means. I'm not going to go, when it comes to like how I live, I guess is stuff that I want to keep locked up, but in terms of like my emotional rawness, that's, I can't get personal enough. I'll straight up go, I haven't been on stage in years, but last week in therapy, I had this conversation, and it's just like straight up, and then here's the actual conversation, joke, but everything up to that point, not funny,
Right. So what did you guys think is the better way to write?
If you're talking about me personally, I try to take my punchlines and my jokes and my satire, and I weave them into my personal life stories that happen. And I have plenty of crazy stories that have happened.
Right. I have thankfully had the chance to be a part of one of those recently.
Do tell. Weave it in
we
with
can't talk too much about
it. We can't.
Weave it in with some satire and some other funny.
Rafiq may have come along to a indigenous
we
ceremony.
did talk about this on the podcast.
It was an interesting time.
Yeah.
A lot of discipline to get through that night.
So I'll say this in a broader context. When you're talking about like personal versus unpersonal.
That was a rough
night. It was a rough night. It was. I say this with tremendous love because I would go with.
I've had a great time since then at a different spot. Different indigenous, different
right?
different tribe. Is that what that means?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's the thing. I would definitely go through it with you again, even if we had to go to the same one. I would be like, yeah, it's fun hanging out.
We'll talk after the show. Yeah,
but
there's one coming up real soon.
There's a whole thing when you talk about personal versus impersonal in writing, where I go, for me, I always tend to start off personal with like the crazy story, and then the flights of fantasy that my mind take just end up going to like this weird absurdist kind of place, like it's that whole thing of like, I haven't been doing it, recently since I haven't had a chance to get on stage for like a couple weeks, but like like when I was talking about politics, there was the very initial thing of like going, like your political party is like being with your parents at an amusement park. You know, it's like conservatives are like being with your divorced dad, where he's trying to convince you that, like, no, you guys used to love this place. Like, it can be great again. I promise you. Like, this is the one weekend we have together. And I promise you, if it weren't for like the Mexicans and other people, this would be such a great amusement park. And you're like, no, Dad, you can't say those things anymore. But like being with like liberals is like being with those kids you would go on a school field trip with, where like you never did anything because like nobody could fucking get their act together to actually get shit done. Be like, oh, let's go ride like the No More Poverty ride. And everyone's like, no, that sucks. I don't want to ride it. Well, if Yang's not going to ride the same ride as the rest of us, we're not getting on any ride. And
so
like,
where's the personal in that?
So the personal with that is the way that joke started was, you know, I was talking with Tosh and his wife about abortion. And it's like they are really what I consider to be like not neoliberal, but like liberal conservatives, where like you'll have this conversation where it's like, we support women's rights in this household, and you're like, yeah, and then someone will be like, but not abortion, and you're like, I think that's one of those rights.
We were so close, so close.
Right.
You know, and so, but that's where that joke started off with, and then the Flight of Fantasy came and bumped it up to like, this feels like I'm at an amusement park with my family. This is what going to an amusement park feels like. This is what being a political party at an amusement park is like, and blah, 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 blah.
So when I talk about going personal, I feel like we're not letting you talk. So jump in.
No.
Okay.
I love to listen.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Because we like to talk. And we don't listen to each other
Natasha,
at all. So
I told Natasha this on the way. She said, you're going to crush it. I was like, I'm not going to get a chance to speak.
Yeah.
So I told her.
Yeah, that was a good assessment. When I think of personal, I'm not necessarily thinking about the detail of that conversation starting with your family is irrelevant to your end-game joke. Mm-hmm. You know, so if we're going... Is that too? Well, that's,
what do you know, Allan? You quit comedy.
You're right. I'm not going to argue.
I just want to say one thing funny.
I love that.
I really wish you'd get back into comedy.
The cartoon never stops in your head, and at some point I probably will.
Come talk about it.
He's gonna be the pseudo Mark Maron.
Yeah.
Where he's just going to come blasting out of the gate in like 2055. Yeah. Like,
hey, what's the deal with these hologram kids running around?
What's your Maron impression?
I like how that's both Jerry Seinfeld, so it's the wrong comedian, and...
That was just me being old. So personal to me is... the emotional stuff. It's me talk. You know, I had this joke that usually landed where it was like, I would talk about how therapists don't help. You come in and you're like, I need help with this, this, and this. And all they want to do is go, well, the Buddhists say, and there's a book. And lady, I was up all last night imagining a room full of people fucking my ex-girlfriend. What do I do with that? Here's what's funny is that's not even a joke. That literally happened. So when you talk about being too personal, but then you also go into like Brian Posehn territory, and his whole act is about, I'm a big stinky gross guy with a little dick, you know, so that's personal.
Sure.
You know, so I don't know. For me, I think there is no too personal. It just, Brian Regan isn't going to get up there and talk about his divorce. That's not what he does. You know what I mean? And so I think he said the word divorce just so he could say, I'm dating again, because he had spent an entire career talking about being married.
Right.
So just to let the audience know I'm dating again, I got it. But he's not going to talk about writhing on the floor crying and shit. That's just not what he does. I would probably do that, you know.
It's okay to talk about this stuff. You can make it funny.
Yes, absolutely.
Right, but where would you... Okay, so let's phrase it like this. Where do you find the dividing line in your material between too personal...
No, I don't have one, man. I really don't think I have one. I guess it would talk about. I guess there's certain things I don't. There's certain things I would like to talk about, but it just I don't have the time on stage to earn it.
So you think
like for example, my sister got in a terrible car accident when I was 12. This is about to get dark. She was almost died. I was a 12-year-old. I was there most of the time. I taught her how to speak again. Reading her children's books, I grew up like this. This is why I became a drug addict. And then it got worse. Yeah, shit just got worse. It's a wake of crap that's still going on to this day. But I guess I started to write about it, but it sounded so awful. I haven't made it crowd ready.
So you feel like if you had like an hour special, you could make it crowd ready, or like,
dude, I'm gonna need 2 years of practicing and working this stuff just to even have that. This is stuff it's delicate shit, and I don't even know if I can't break down on stage and talk about some of this stuff. I
mean, are there at least? I'm sure you've thought of this, but like
you said, a lot of it's not funny.
Right. Well, I guess that's what I was going to ask. Like, are there at least, there was that one time when you were helping her talk and instead of foot, she said fart. Whatever. And now it's funny because she said fart.
See, now you just opened up a whole new world, like a whole new perspective I didn't even think about.
Right.
Because it's so personal and so dark. Yeah.
Right. Well,
now I'm really thinking.
Right.
Yeah, I was looking at this with the wrong pair of eyes. Right. Thank you.
That's what I'm here for.
Allan, get back into comedy. Bro.
I know.
There's a whole thing when you're talking about like, is this too dark? Right, to talk about on stage.
Yeah, I have something I'd like to say right now, but I'm not going to because I don't think it's okay.
Right.
Well,
I'll tell you later.
So my issue has always been that I look at that moment where people go, "Is this too dark?" Where I go, "Of course it's not," because I am a grown man. You're a grown man. Audience, whatever. I will say this thing: if you don't like it, then you don't like it, and we'll move on. Otherwise, who cares? Like, I've talked about my dead brother on stage before. I talked about my dead brother recently at a show in which one of my other brothers was at, and he laughed, and he was like, "We can never tell mom this joke." And, to me, again, it's dark, but it's like the fact that my mom and my sisters feel like they're being haunted by the ghost of their dog, but my dead brother doesn't get to come back and say hi.
That's fucking great.
I love that joke.
There's but it's dark. It is fundamentally a dark thing.
Sure.
Because it's like
but you're also easing the tension with the joke. That's what makes, that's you with your marionette strings over the audience. And, he's talking about his dead brother. This is such a bummer. Ghost stuff.
It's so, but when again, it's that thing of like, is this too dark? Can we talk about this? I go, that's the reason why people like Jesselneck and guys can get away with it, is because if you write a well enough, and this is vastly different between shock comedy and like well-written stuff. Because Jesselneck writes a joke. You know what I mean? Whereas most other comics are just like, "Oh, I said 9/11. It's so hilarious. It's so fucking funny." And you're like, "No, it's not.
Right.
That wasn't a joke. That was just you being mean-spirited to national tragedy, you douchebag. Like, fucking pick a lane."
Some years ago at the Dunedin Brewery, they were doing their open mic. And like the night before, there had been some shooting, I don't know, in France or something. And every single comic had to say something about it.
Right.
And I think one of the first things I said on stage was, "Hey guys, you don't have to try to be funny every time something horrible happens.
Right.
You can just not talk about it."
That's what I was just gonna say something I completely forgot.
Yeah. Well, so okay, let's. So you mentioned it before. You have spent time in lockup.
Oh yeah.
Right. So when we're talking about something that's too dark, right?
My time in there wasn't like people would think it would have gone. It was not like that at all. It was fucking hilarious. If you, it was, yeah.
I'm glad you came out with such a positive attitude.
I wish Seinfeld would go spend a month at the work camp I was at. And I would love to hear his observational comedy about this place.
Just 70-year-old Seinfeld.
We've talked about some of this stuff. It's absurd. It's absurdly funny. And at the same time, you're being oppressed by officers who are the scum of the earth with a clean record. That's all they are. And now they're in charge of other people. Yeah, you can just...
So it's inherently silly.
There's only one job they have to do correctly, and that's fucking count you twice a day. It's the only job they are held accountable to do.
Did you end up... It's like, I love that idea because, like, did you end up with the same number of prisoners at the end of the day as you started? It's like, somehow we got one more. Yeah.
And that has happened. That has happened, right? And then they spend 4 hours trying to figure out the fucking mess while you are stuck on your bunk.
Yeah.
Waiting for these idiots to figure out who was the biggest idiot.
And exactly how the idiocy occurred.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. So, I mean, that's an inherently silly... When you can step out of it and look at it objectively, you're like, well, this is ridiculous. Like, I'm being mandated every movement I make by people who, should be in here with me.
Yes.
This is ridiculous,
And some of them really should be in there with you for years.
Yeah.
There's some evil people there, too.
And then also, I don't know your story. I'm not asking. I'm assuming you're not in there for, something horrendously violent.
No, see,
I wouldn't say it's written on paper as violent, but I was not a violent person.
Exactly. And my point being, so now the non-violent guy is now being controlled by the psycho.
They're never going to make a movie about Jeff.
It was bank robbery. But it was no weapon. There's no weapon, Allan.
That's fantastic.
I was just going to say,
that's another long story that I can't tell with cell phones anywhere near us.
Yeah. So I was going to say, that is one of those things where, like, if they ever made a TV movie about Jeff, they would have to, like, amp up the violence in order to make it interesting for his story.
That's not true. I have a whole other life of experience. But yeah, my crimes were not violent.
I'm talking about the one that you got caught.
Oh yeah. I know. There was not.
Yeah. They would have to give it the heat treatment of, like, they'd be like, "Here's Jeff kicking in the door."
No, it's hilarious. When a guy walks in, I said some crazy shit one time. I really didn't want to talk about this, Rafiq.
We don't have to.
We talk about how much I don't want to talk about this on air.
We don't have to.
But
you are
okay. Subject. Well, back to not subject change. Back to for me. If you want an exercise in how to make dark funny, Doug Stanhope.
Right.
He straight up, beat for beat, tells the story of killing his mother. Because his mother wanted to die. She had an incurable illness. They brought her into his house and basically just waited for her to say, now is the time. And they gave her whatever drug. And it's a sad fucking story. And at no point is it sad when he tells it.
Yeah,
it's fucking hilarious. The one that I bring up, I'm sure I've said it on this microphone 1,000 times. Jess Reed did a bit on This Is Not Happening about being so pathetically addicted to meth that she was drinking her own meth piss. It is the saddest tragic story. At no point do you feel sorry for her.
Sure.
And it's fucking hilarious from beginning to end. It is... as far as I'm concerned, one of the best like Bill Cosby going to the dentist, fucking Brian Regan, Pop-Tarts, Jess Reed drinking her own meth piss. It's like up there as one of the best comedy performances I've ever seen. It's amazing.
I like how it was clean joke, meth piss. So who's your favorite dark comic?
I guess I don't have a favorite dark one. My favorite comic would be Dave Chappelle for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I love Dave Chappelle, Bill Burr. I just saw Joe Rogan. I like Joe Rogan a lot. He had a good show over there.
I go back and forth on Joe.
Yeah, I had a different experience when I saw him live recently. But you know what? It's not his fault because he kind of attracts a lot of meatheads because of the MMA thing. So he's probably catering to that a little bit.
Right. Well, so that's the thing.
Like I see his special, and I love his specials.
That's the thing about Joe is, like, to me, Joe is definitely a decent writer.
Sure.
Right. But, like, he's been playing this caricature on, you know, the Joe Rogan Experience for so long that, like, every time I see a special of his now, it feels like he's just continuing on that character.
Sure.
As opposed to being like Joe from like 5 years ago, where you would watch a special and like, oh, that's a really smart written joke, as opposed to like, you should be taking like horse dewormers, you know, and the joke is like, they won't let you take these. And it's like, that's
about that.
Yeah. And
you
it's
know,
like,
the guy still sold out the arena. I don't give a shit.
Right. Yeah.
I would
that's fair.
love to be there.
I've always said that's how I want to measure success.
Yeah.
Is I want, well, not just selling out arenas. I want two nobodies like Allan and myself shit talking me,
right?
Like in 2040 on their podcast.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
I want to be that successful.
Yeah.
I just want to be successful enough to fall off and then be on Dancing with the Stars so I can win one. For sure.
That is a weird career path.
Yeah, I just want to.
I'm trying to get to this level of fame so that I can eventually get on Dancing with the Stars.
Yeah, eventually. It's a long road to get on Dancing with the Stars. You got to kind of make it and then not.
Yeah.
And plus, you got to keep yourself in like physical enough shape that you
I'm
can
good.
still like,
I'm good. I will win this.
You're looking fine.
I will win this shit. Fuck around.
I wish you had seen his
say this
eyes.
right here, right now. One day I'm gonna win fucking Dancing with the Stars.
There's such intensity coming out of your face right now that it's kind of freaking me out.
Serious thing I've said all day.
I love the idea of like Jeff getting to that point and then they cancel Dancing with the Stars, so he uses his star power to bring back Dancing with the Stars just so he can be on it.
I'm the executive producer and the contestant.
I would totally do that. Just to do it. That's
my
dream. Yeah, that's it. I just want to dance with the Stars. That's it. No arenas.
So we had some Reddit
Too much.
questions from people who may or may not actually know this podcast. And we read this. I think this is the question that
I love that these are written on napkins.
Yeah, this is a high quality fucking production we got going on here. And by the way, I used part of that napkin to wipe my nose last time we were
Okay, well, at least you ripped it off.
Yeah. I think this question dovetails perfectly. When does comedy become disrespectful? By the way, the Reddit user is named Baby Daddy for you. Number 4. So, ladies, if you're looking for the illegitimate father of your bastard child, I think we have your guy.
You don't need to go any further than that. That's just funny, just the way it is.
When does comedy become disrespectful?
I think comedy becomes disrespectful when you. So there's that whole thing about punching up, punching down, punching sideways, where it's like you should never be attacking anyone who's beneath you, like your station in life. So like if you are a cisgendered male, don't go after trans women in your jokes or whatever, right?
Okay.
I don't agree with that.
I don't either.
I think it becomes disrespectful when it goes from being a joke to being a point of anger as expressed by the individual.
I like that. Good definition. Yeah, I'll go with yours.
I'm going to take a totally different path. I'm not sure that it fucking matters. Meaning, for the last 3 days, I've been listening to a compilation from Opie and Anthony where they were just brutally, maliciously making fun of mentally challenged people. And not to their face, nothing,
Not going out in the street.
But they would like play clips from YouTube or whatever and just say inexcusable shit. And it's like, there's no pretense there. There's no like, oh, we're trying to defend this and we're really saying that. Like, we're just telling the worst, meanest
that
jokes.
wasn't satire.
And that is the point. The point is that these guys they're not going to do that. They're not out there bullying people because they're mentally challenged. It's that they are it's dudes sitting in a room going, who can say the worst, most uncomfortable thing about this video? You know what I mean? That is the point. That is
how many views they have? Just curious.
Oh, I'm sure they had plenty.
That's all it is.
So for me, it's like, who cares if it's disrespect? Look, here's the difference. Opie and Anthony are sitting in a room watching this video saying inexcusable shit versus they walk down the street, see a mentally challenged guy, and then go after him and say those things to his face. We're beyond disrespect at that point. We're getting into like something evil at that, you know what I mean? So it's like there ain't a comic alive who hasn't sat and told some really dark, horrendous, awful jokes at the bar, knowing that the point was this is dark, horrendous, and awful. That is the joke, you know. Now, are you going to get booed off stage? Probably, but if that's what you want to do, like, I just don't think it matters.
Right. So, what do you think, Jeff? Like,
well, I mean, I think if people are offended by some things, they shouldn't go to a comedy show.
Yeah.
Well, so I guess, and you know, this is speculation, but I guess that's kind of what he's asking, though, in the question. The original question is like, because there's always going to be somebody who finds something offensive.
You know, I like your definition. If it comes from a place of anger, yeah, they should draw the line there.
Right. I think it's, you know, there's, you know, the difference between the guy who sincerely has a evil heart against mentally challenged people versus the guy who's just saying awful things because it's naughty and fun to say awful things, you know. That's what I say about it.
I thought you were gonna go with like, and that's what I say. 24. Oh, actually, you know, let's talk about that for a minute because Jeff mentioned that earlier. You said that you like parody commercials.
I like your parody commercials. Yeah.
Okay.
I like character work. I like all that stuff. Yeah, I do. You know, I drive a lot. It's like half of my job during the day. And I'm always coming up with parody songs with the music I'm listening to, and I love doing it. And it's so fun.
So
I love parody anything. Okay. I'm big on parody.
I like parody of parody.
And I don't really do parody in my act. I just love it. I'm a big fan.
So why don't you do it in your act?
I mean, I will. I'm not like
he's still working on this sister
material. There's only two things
man.
I don't really like to do much, and that's politics and sports because I feel like it divides the crowd, and I'm trying to get everybody on board with the same ideas.
See, I
know you like to cause a little controversy sometimes.
Yeah, see, it's funny that you say that because in my mind, it's never about causing controversy. It's just like
somebody has to follow that controversy that you created in the crowd.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, if I'm like the first person up, I'm not going to go, well, here's my hot 5 minutes on why Republicans suck balls. Like, no, like, I wouldn't do that the opposite direction either. I wouldn't be like, so what's the deal with liberals? Are they just cucks or snowflakes? Like, but like, so like, I get what you're talking about, like not dividing people, but like, there is a certain thing about like, to me, it's always like these are subjects we can talk about because we're adults. And it's not like we're trying to divide people. It's like, I get it. You don't like abortion. Fucking awesome, right? That's your call. We can have a serious conversation about that and what that means later on or whatever, blah, blah. But at the same point in time, as adults, we can totally agree that it's ridiculous that, like, you're going to firebomb an abortion clinic because you think that abortions are taking place, even though you yourself have not been inside. So you're just basing this off of like, well, Bob says it's happening, and he's got to be a good source, right? Like your friend Bob, who works at the same company you do, who has nothing to do in there himself. You know, and I go, we should be able to talk about that as like people.
Right, because you're pointing out the absurdity of that goes beyond the ideology. That's the absurdity, you know.
Right.
That is Brian Regan observational, only it's about a hot topic. You know, he looks at the inherent absurdity of buying a refrigerator. You're looking at the inherent absurdity of this thing over here, you know.
I think it's comes, you know, anyone who feels the need to stand up in a crowd and like share their views to the comic shouldn't be at a comedy show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you don't run into that often, but those people shouldn't be there.
We had a guest.
It's really the staff's job to get those people out
Yeah.
as soon as it
Right,
starts.
There need to be a questionnaire. Are you the kind of person that's going to stand up with your views?
I think I've seen it happen to you more than anyone. The improv, every now and then there's some drunk. I know it's getting bad when you say sweetie. When you start saying sweetie, I'm like, yep.
So, like that, I will definitely grant people that. Like, I know when I'm in a group of comics and somebody is heckling, and that's something we should talk about, is how everyone feels like you should handle a heckler. But like, for me, I go, if I am on stage and there's some piece of shit who's been talking through sets or whatever,
sure.
I will try kindly to have a conversation, and then I'll go, get the fuck out.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, I know.
I've seen you set that boundary.
Right.
I always respected that too.
Well, because I'm a big believer of like, I know this is going to fuck up my set, but like,
sure.
Especially when I'm on a show with other comics, I go, I know these guys and they have worked hard to get here. The fact that you are being a piece of shit and like hurting their ability to do their material drives me up a fucking wall.
I like the comment. I've seen you pull a great move, which is use the crowd against that one person. I've seen.
Yes.
Does everyone want to hear? I've seen you go, does everybody in here want them to shut the fuck up and get out?
Yeah.
And everyone's like, yeah, get the fuck out. Like,
That's a good teaching tactic where you kind of make the whole class miserable because Johnny over there won't shut the fuck up.
Right.
You know. Like, are you guys all enjoying Johnny's little display here, or do you want to help me with this? You know.
Well, so that's that's kind of the thing too, because it is an audience thing. It's like, hey man, you worked all week to hire a babysitter so you could take you and your wife out for a night of comedy because your marriage is on the rocks and you trying to bring back some spice. Do you really want this shitbag over here interrupting jokes?
Yeah.
So that way you can go home and be like, well, that sucked. We should get divorced.
it's a solid bit.
Yeah,
I fucked up one time. This drunk idiot was being a drunk idiot, and I was in them. It was one of those jokes that you really have to like lay the groundwork to get where you're going.
Sure.
And she started screaming over top of the laying the groundwork part, and I don't know if this is the right way to handle it, but I think I made my point. I said, thank you for interrupting the setup to the joke. We all appreciate it. And I swept my arm broadly. We all appreciate it.
So how do you handle hecklers?
I don't usually encounter them. I try to be compelling enough to even keep the hecklers like shut up. Yeah. Keep the hecklers nice and quiet and watching where I'm going.
So just constantly on your feet moving.
Taking a knee.
I usually kind of I usually just let it roll. Like I'll make a quick comment about it and maybe it wouldn't take more than 3 seconds, and then I'll go on with my joke.
So
I've usually never had an issue with someone continuously fucking my shit up. It's usually something that happens quick, and I can say something quick that doesn't take too much attention away from the joke and on this person, and then I just keep rolling with it.
So you feel the best way to handle hecklers, by and large, is to just ignore them.
It depends on the heckler. Like I've seen you guys deal with hecklers more than I've had experience dealing with my own hecklers.
Okay, that's fair. I mean, like, because like I said, to me, it's always that thing of like, I know how hard you work. Right. So when I'm like, we're on a show together, if you go up and someone heckles you during your bit, I will absolutely, if I have the time, be like, hey, let's take 5 minutes to talk about Fuckface McGee, because
and I appreciate that shit. But me personally, I came up there to do my shit. So if I can take attention away from it successfully, then that's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to like spend more time berating this person.
So to you, your time. And correct me if I'm wrong on this.
Yeah, I'll make them look stupid real quick, and then I'll keep going.
Yeah, but your time on stage is more precious than dealing with them being shit.
Yeah.
So,
do you remember that time?
I could get wrapped up for minutes talking a heckler down. I got shit to do up here. Yeah. I'm trying to get my thoughts. These people need to know my thoughts are funny.
Oh God, you just encapsulated what comedy is.
That's it.
I'm hilarious and brilliant, and I need you to know about it. Do you remember that time
These thoughts are hilarious.
Do you remember that time that I screamed through an entire set?
Oh, was that?
We were at an open mic, and there was this very rude woman, and every single comic on stage said something to her because she would not stop.
Yeah.
And then when she got on stage, I looked at all the other comics. I was like, so are we doing this? And so she had no material.
Yeah.
She was just up there babbling. And I screamed at the top of my lungs for the entire 5 minutes of her set.
What were some of the things you were saying?
At one point, I screamed, I have contempt for you. I said that to her. Every premise that she would say something like about her car, and I would go, yeah, cars! I just, whatever she said, I just screamed the entire time. And then she would try to attack me. She like held up her pinky and said something about me. And then I looked at the bar and screamed, she's saying I have a little penis. And I would not stop.
That is great. I think I remember who you're talking about because she was coming around. This is something I say, and this is not about female comics, but like there is a certain type
That's how you know it's actually about.
Yeah.
No, this is about.
I'm not racist, but
No, there's a certain type of like woman who will get into comedy.
Sure.
Who for her it's not actually about comedy, which is the reason why I'm trying to make that distinction.
Yeah, I see. I
Like-
see what you mean. You're making a generalization of a pattern that we've noticed, from
Right,
being in-
and it's like those are the like it's a woman who wants attention, but she doesn't want to actually put in the work to be like funny. So, and if I remember, she was coming around for a while, and she would talk shit during other people's sets because like she thought that was what comedy was.
Right.
And it's like I think I remember her because I think Choquette had to take her aside one night and be like, no, this is not how a joke works. You don't talk during people's sets. Or, and if you keep on doing that, we'll tell, I think it was like Bob or whoever, and we just won't let you back in the building.
Yeah.
It's always a Bob.
It's always a Bob.
No, it's. I feel like Jim Choquette took the initiative and let that person know that was not okay. A lot of this stuff happens because they are not hearing that enough from other people.
Right.
And people are
Because they're
afraid-
clearly not listening.
Someone needs to walk up and hey, I've been kind of doing this for a couple years and like this isn't cool. And if they don't care, then hey, I don't know.
Well, it's that thing about attention-seeking behavior. Like, there's a difference between, like, I feel like comedy is appropriate attention-seeking behavior.
Okay, yeah.
Of, like, we sat down and all agreed there are certain rules. Like, we each give each other 5 minutes, and you don't talk shit during my set, and I don't talk shit during your set. And, like, yay!
You don't even get that with comics that you've been working with for
Right.
years now.
Right.
Some of it.
Right, but then...
I've had my feelings hurt a couple times.
Right, but then there are the people who are outside of comedy who don't really understand comedy, and they think comedy is just everyone's focused on me. I am hot shit right now, and you're just like, no,
But
like,
they don't matter, and the comedy will purge that person eventually.
That's true.
Yeah,
That is true.
Yeah, they're just passing through. I guess I relate it to being in jail. And watching people come in, like being in county and like fighting a case, and watching people come in, and go through their shit, and you're like, do I like get close to this person because I know they're gonna be out like way before I'm out. You know what I mean? This person's we're gonna get close. We're gonna be cool. I'm gonna have a friend. We're gonna learn about each other's family, and then he's gonna leave. Like it's like if you get to the point where people come in, like this guy's kind of cool. We can probably work out, and talk some shit, play some cards, but why? Like he's gonna be gone. You know what I mean? It's the same person. I don't know.
It's just rotating faces coming through.
If you want to talk about how different our lives are, but how similar, what you're describing feels like most of the kids I knew when I went to private school.
Yeah.
We were like, oh, cool, I'm not going to get attached to you. You're going to be gone in like 6 months. Like, you're just passing through, buddy.
It's true.
Okay, Jeff. It's
What time is it?
we went at about 44 minutes. It's about 4:51 in the PM.
About 10 minutes, I got it right.
Oh, that's perfect. That'll give you just enough time.
Oh, yay, questions.
No, this is not a question.
Damn it.
This is
I have no
this
questions
is something much worse. Just go ahead and give your reaction to what I've passed across the table. Just let it sink in. Oh, look at the face. Oh,
God.
It went disgust and then surprise.
Listen, where did you get this?
It was bought for me as
This is legit?
Yeah, this is real.
Like
You can go ahead.
Printed this.
You can go ahead and look at the.
This is someone's merch, right?
This is someone's merch.
Okay.
This is Ed the Machine Regine telling 100 of the funniest jokes.
I don't know who this person is because, like I said, I don't watch comedy.
No, nobody
Not
knows
that
who
I
he is.
would know. Who
Yeah, exactly. That
is
doesn't.
this for me?
No. This
Okay.
is just for you to just feel in your soul and tell us what you think about it.
I mean, it's funny. This is funny looking at. I think it's a great marketing technique to tell you with so much confidence. Look at his face. He's like, I know these are the funniest jokes. Look at him. Dude, listen, you can sell a shitty joke with confidence. I've done it several times.
So he doesn't.
I'm not going to be, I'm not going to just assumingly judge this person. I would like to hear these 100 funniest jokes.
You think you would?
Yeah,
huh?
you
All right,
you got one
pass
queued
that
up?
over.
Yeah.
You got one queued?
Yeah,
Yeah,
boy, do we have a gift for you.
Let me hear one.
real fast. We say this every time. Most of these tracks are out of order.
Okay.
So whatever title number 52 is will not be, or 50%.
Did he sign this for you?
He did sign it for me.
Who's your friend that had this guy do this?
A family member
Okay.
bought this out of sincere love, and I've been making fun of it ever since.
And they knew how shitty it was?
Oh, no.
Oh, they thought it was that
okay,
good.
here's the thing. He does do... These are street jokes.
So this is a person that said, hey, you might use this in one of your little skits.
Yeah.
Someone like that gave it to you.
Yeah.
Which never gets old. Hey, you might be able to use these jokes that someone else used that were someone else's jokes in one of your little skits. It's that person.
These
It's
are
always
street
the
jokes.
S2 and skits
Yeah.
that drives me up.
Oh, yeah, your little skits. Like, nothing's more minimizing. Shit I've been working for years on.
One of your little skits.
Your little skits.
These are street jokes, but this guy is a sincere comic, and he's not bad. We don't like his material.
Is he making a living?
Well, he was seen on a cruise. A family member of mine.
Bro, that's a dream gig.
Yeah.
You know, fuck that. I'm going to be telling these jokes next week.
But he doesn't stand on stage telling street jokes. He has an act.
Okay.
And it's not bad. We've seen it.
So
we don't
merch
like it.
Is a joke to himself.
Yeah, his merch.
I respect that.
His merch is fucking street jokes that he tells poorly on a self-printed CD.
That's hilarious.
Isn't it?
Yeah, we're
See,
the jokes. You have this.
It's
You're
funny.
the joke.
It's
to
funny.
him.
It's funny until you've heard 51 of them, and then
still
you
did
want to
51
die.
of them. That's impressive.
So we're on 52
This
now.
guy has a legit act. This has to be a joke to him.
I don't think it is.
No.
Because
you
his
said he
act-
has a decent act, right?
I mean, when I say, hear me out. When I say decent, I don't.
Carnival?
When I say decent,
Who books this?
he does well on stage.
Yeah.
He connects with the audience. He's very silly. He's
Sure,
very
they're
energetic.
Cruise crowds.
Yeah.
They have nothing better to do.
Right. He's good at what he does.
That's all that matters.
But I'm not gonna sit here and try to tell you he's Patton Oswalt.
Right.
You
Heard
know,
that.
he
See,
ain't
bro, I don't talk shit about other people, especially that they're doing better than I am.
exactly. I agree.
Yeah.
But
I can-
also,
I, on the other hand, have no problem.
on the other hand, this is shit, and I
Yeah.
hate him for it.
Let me get one.
And I want him in the
Let me hear
octagon.
one or two.
This is
Let me hear your
52.
favorite.
52 may or may not be about policemen.
Okay, I'm so excited.
Here we
A
go.
policeman sent
Hey!
his wife to a beach resort for a vacation, and due to a crime wave, he had to join her a week later. Once he got down there, they went to the beach, and they started to make out. And when another policeman came by, he said, "Hey, put your clothes on." The husband said, "Well, I'm a policeman, and I'm so embarrassed. I hope you understand." And the policeman said, "Well, I've never seen you here before. I think I'll give you a break." He said, "But this is the third time this week I caught this bitch."
I did not follow one moment of that. The policeman became a husband. somebody's a husband now, and now there's a second policeman. So this woman's fucking people outdoors often, but different people. None of that connected in my brain.
Right.
That was a disaster. How many times did you hear him pause trying to remember the rest of the fucking joke?
I don't think that was the joke. I think that just what made it on there. I don't think that was originally the joke.
That's a bit where we've done this before, but it's like, how do you improve that? Literally, you know how you improve that is you just don't need to mention that the husband is a policeman.
Holy shit, why was the first guy a policeman?
Right? Like
That had nothing to do with anything.
yeah.
Oh my God. This is the worst one yet. We've sat through 51 steaming turds.
Wait,
this is the worst
y'all
one
have
yet.
gone through 51 of these jokes
Yeah.
on the air?
Oh, yeah. This is masochism at its finest.
I'm not going to say anything. It's just funny. It's just funny.
What the fuck was that? By the way,
This is your star segment.
the title
This guy's shit.
the title is Policemen with an E, meaning multiple policemen, but he starts with a policeman, and then later there's another police. I don't know what's going on. I've finally, he broke me. Ed, you win. You win. 52 tracks of this crap.
What's his name again? Ed the Regime? What is
Ed the Machine Regime. Here, why don't you take another gander at this cunt?
Take a look at this.
Oh,
I don't want to
God.
make fun of this guy. Look at it. Look at his hair's great. Dude, he's got to be 60 something. You know what? Kudos to him, man. Ed, keep doing what you're doing. Don't listen to these assholes. Bro.
Our ultimate
We all
hope.
live in our
Look,
mother's
I don't
houses.
care if he keeps doing. He's already released the plague into the
Yeah.
world. This is, I mean, the damage has been done. I can't even.
Poor Ed. I will not knock thy art anymore, Ed.
Oh, you won't.
Mock thy art.
God, that's the worst one yet. That is really bad. I'm stunned. I didn't think it could get any worse.
Oh well.
You do one of these every show?
At least
So
one.
this is a 50-second time?
Yeah. So this is what this is the whole impetus.
I love it. No, I love
This
the
is
idea
how
of
we
it.
like to close. We like to close on sadness and misery.
Poor Ed. Do you ever tag Ed in these?
We oughta.
We
I'm
really.
gonna friend Ed today.
Please do.
Yeah.
And what we hope is that at some point in the future, after we get through Ed's immaculate CD, is that Ed comes on to the show.
That'd be great.
All right. So that way we can have a real heart-to-heart conversation about Ed's art.
I need answers. I need justification for this.
You know what? I would be willing to accept if Ed came on. He was like, "I made it because drunk schmucks will buy anything."
Yeah, for sure.
Which one? I'd be like, "Yeah, you know what? You're right. All right, you won, dude."
That's no excuse.
We're the joke.
The joke's on me.
Even then, though, like what you're talking about with the thing, it's like he's pausing to remember. That joke was what, 30, 40 seconds maybe?
It was 31, I believe.
And it's like, dude, you can't remember a 31-second bit for a CD that you made?
He got lost halfway through. He got lost. The cop became a husband or something. I don't know what happened.
Come on, give me something good before I go.
You want another Ed?
No, I don't want another.
Oh,
Ed.
yeah, I know what no one does.
I just don't want to leave on an awkward silence. I'm like, this is weird.
It's fine. Rafiq, come up with something good. You're good at that.
Come up with a fucking. Are we doing street jokes? Because this is when you're talking about like being pissed off at the CD. This is the reason why. This is a street joke I made like 2 years ago, like in conversation with somebody because they were asking like for a joke they could take home, and it was just as simple as two old men are sitting on a rocking porch, and one says, "Hey, Earl, you think as we get older, memory is going to become a problem?" And the second old man turns to the first and goes, "Who the fuck is Earl?"
Hey.
Right? It's a lame, shitty street joke that took me 30 seconds to write in my own head, and Ed has 100 of these
That he didn't write. That he didn't write. That he heard. That because they're the funniest jokes he's ever
heard.
I need a little more candor.
You need, I know.
Is that the title?
It's yes. It's addictive. You can't let it go.
Oh,
It's haunting.
Yeah, there's no lying in this statement.
No.
Yeah.
Well, I think the lie. I think the lie.
Prove a lie.
I think the lie is the word funniest.
No, prove that he doesn't think they're the funniest shows. Prove it. That's like
true.
nerve pain.
That's true.
Yeah, prove it isn't.
Nerve pain.
Yeah.
You can't tell me I don't hurt.
Yeah. Fucking bastards.
Oh God.
Vultures. Listen, I gotta go. I got a doggy.
Plug shit. Where can we find you? What are you
guys
doing?
didn't let me. They didn't let me bring my dog in.
Don't
they
you fucking say
practically
that.
dog
I
shame me.
told you absolutely you
Listen,
could bring your dog.
I don't want to name drop, but Kevin Holly had my dog in my lap the entire time.
Oh.
He had free roam around the studio. He may or may not have peed on something. Like
Whatever.
Listen, I don't expect the red carpet treatment, but my dog's a whole different story.
I told
The dog
you-
deserves the red carpet.
I
He
told
would
you.
have sat here the whole time.
I told you just like with Allan's dog.
He would have been
could
barking the
have-
whole time, but you try to lock him up.
You could have brought him, put him in a kennel outside.
What kind of dog you got?
I got a Beau Doc.
Is he here?
Boston? No.
Oh, man.
Boston Terrier Dachshund.
Send pictures, dude.
Okay.
Yeah, I love doggies.
I do too.
Yeah, they're the best.
So plug shit. Where can we see you at?
Oh yeah,
What
I
can we-
forgot. I got shit coming up. I'll be at 8-Bit on the 16th at Vortex here in St. Pete with Kyle Reese's show. On the 25th, I am with Steve Miller and Jeff Klein and Stephen Henry at Liquid Garage in Newport Richey.
Okay.
And then October 1st and 2nd, I'm in Alabama with Natasha. We're doing a weekend at the Happy Hour Comedy Club
Oh yeah.
in
Awesome.
a little 2-hour town.
Where can they
When-
find you on?
You can find me at Jeff Lluis. It's Jeff, Jeff. Last name is spelled with 2 L's. It's Lluis. You can find me on Facebook. It's public. You can find me on Instagram. It's Jeff Lluis, comedian at large. I'm on TikTok. I don't like Twitter too much. So
When are you in Alabama?
October 1st and 2nd.
October. Okay. I'm going to be there in a couple weeks. Okay.
That's a couple weeks from now.
Well, it's a different couple weeks. Your other left.
Guys, thank you for having me on. I appreciate it.
Thank you for coming. You were great. So, how about this?
So how about this?
So,
Yeah, well. Hey guys, thank you so much for listening to another episode of So How About This. If you liked that episode, please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, or leave a review. If you really liked us, tell a friend. If you hated us, tell somebody you also hate. Tell 5 people that you hate about us. Find your arch enemy and convince them to listen to our podcast because you hate us so much and you want to punish them for it. Also, don't forget to follow us on Twitter at So How About This One. That's the words So How About This followed by the number 1. If you have any questions you want answered on the show, just hit us up on Twitter and don't forget to stay tuned for new episodes.